Okay, my good people. I got my batteries topped off. I got my beans going right now. And these are the good beans, too. They are the cannellini beans. Very good stuff. Lima beans I like the best. Plus, I got my steak up there simmering. It's not done yet, but it will be done. So, let me just move this stuff out the way so it's not that close up there. Oh yeah, steak's looking great. Looking beautiful right now. The next goal in life with my company is to grow it more. I got a 2010 F350 under the company's name, and I got a van that's got all my company logos on it. So I need to find some way to bring revenue in as a carpenter, as a builder. One of the issues I'm finding is, for some reason, it's a society issue. It's like history has forgotten the actual carpenter builders of the world are the workforce, the labor force, or in the past, they're the African Americans, Asians, some Europeans, a lot of Mexicans. I mean, give it up for the Hispanic people. They know how to treat a family. I may end up getting me a Hispanic wife. Yes, family oriented, and they do work hard. One of the hardest working people in the world, I will say that. Also, I got to build the business up, get the money coming in constantly on an ongoing basis. My insurance allows me to have 2 insurance policies going on at one time. If I get 3 or 4 projects going on at one time, small businesses, and buy more insurance to accommodate that extra workload, or 2 big projects going on at one time. And that way, the work can constantly keep moving forward. An issue that I have is I have to do the work and all the paperwork. And one of the things that people seem to forget, businesses work on a pair system. You need someone to do the actual physical labor and someone to do the paperwork. A husband and wife is ideal for creating a business. I say everyone that is married, you are an institution. You need to create a business. Hands down. You're going to save money that way and build wealth for the family. But a lot of people don't want to do that anymore these days because they think it's too much work. Well, it's just as much work as not running a business as it is running a business from my point of view. And I say that because they're going to take your money regardless. You save money by creating a business, and then you write off all your business expenses, and you're creating wealth at the same time. I'm seeing the world coming to be just like an ant farm. You got your worker drones, and then you got the queen. Just something to think about. Now, with all that being said, I need to be able to find the work, and I will find more work, so I'm not going to give up on that. It's just time's just really tough right now, and usually it is. And this is going to be my 7th year in business. I'm going to start 2 businesses. One is a handyman business, because I can do handyman work easily, and a carpenter's business. I will say my last 2 people my last 3 I've worked for, they're contractors. They call themselves carpenters, and they got these carpenter bids, and they don't know the first thing about being a carpenter. Then they will not hire me to run the entire site on a salary, and I'm helping their business out. So one, I helped out and I stuck with him because I liked the guy. He didn't know nothing about carpentry, and he's, as anyone who doesn't know anything, fake it to make it. They will also say other stuff like, we're waiting for our inspector to come. That's the problem. And I clearly told the homeowner, this is the reason why this project is messed up. You spend about $50,000 correcting all these issues, but there's nothing that can be done if you want these issues corrected. And you cannot cut these certain LVLs or timbers because that'll weaken the integrity of your entire roof system. So, and the homeowners, their clients would always say, well, I asked them, would you have allowed me to do this project? He said, well, I would have given you the opportunity to bid on it. And I told him at that point, because I know what it is. It's all about being done cheap. And people you guys got to do your homework on these contractors. Just because they're cost more doesn't mean they're going to give you cheap work. And I told the homeowner, you gave him the project because he looks like you and he looks like a carpenter. And this guy was a European fella. And I said, someone like me, and I can prove my 24 years of construction and my 5 years in the Carpenters Union, 8 years or something like that in the Carpenters Union. And all my work, the work I have done with my previous clients, I can prove that I can do this work. But you went with him primarily because he looks like you, and you have faith in what you see because what you see looks like you. Think back to Joint Base Lewis McChord in Lakewood, Washington. Some munition came up stolen on that base. Now, in order to get onto that base, you can't even have a speeding ticket. How'd that munition come up missing? If not even the lowest of the low criminals are not allowed on the base. Some people have more to prove in life than the majority. And the majority being the so-called people who've never committed a crime in their life. That makes no sense to me as to why people think like that. But they do. And there's nothing we can do about that because they're always going to think like that. And you potential clients in the future, you're falling for the oldest trickery in the book, the gift of talking. And just giving you what you want to hear at that time. As opposed to someone like me, I'm not only going to tell you this is the best way to do it, this is why it's going to cost so much, I'm also going to inform you some of the things you may want done cannot be done because it's not done to code. It won't last as long as you want. And if I do what it is that you ask, I'm going to have it in expressed writing that this is what you wanted. And I am not held liable in any way, shape, or form if anything were to malfunction or falter in any way. I even built a deck one time, a cedar deck, very nice deck. No, it was a pine deck. Never mind. It was a pine deck. Very nice deck. And I got the pictures. And this young fella says, I want to build this deck for my mother-in-law so she can come out on the yard and roll around on the deck. I says, okay, well, I can do that for you. I'll make sure it's in line with that the sliding door, and she can come on out here. And as I'm start building this deck, and this is a pretty big deck, about half the yard. It is a 13-foot by 25-foot deck. It's a big deck. Actually, it's a 15-foot wide by 25 feet long. It's a big deck, and I got it level. I mean, I got it level. But the problem is, as I'm about starting on the 4th or 5th plank, he says, I want you to take all these planks off and push them tight together. Now, when you do decks and the planks are always separated by a 1/4 inch, what I use is my speed square. Fastest way of doing it. I'm only building a deck for like $1,200. I'm pretty good at what I do. This is one of the first times that I started off in business. And I told him, sir, if I do that over time, by this time next year, your deck is going to look like this, warped and bubbled all over the place. But he wouldn't listen. He insisted. I says, okay, sir, I'm going to send that to you in a text message. And you reply yes, just so that we have a clear understanding of what's going on. I sent it in a text message because that's a legal binding contract. And I put in there, as requested, per you, the client, I am going to side by side the planks with no spacing in between. The client hit yes. I did the work. Now, I had it done in about, it took me 2 days because I had to set up my posts in the ground, cut them all to level, and then build the deck. That's a 2-day process for me, even at 15 by 24. Sit down. Now, as I got done building the deck for him, darn it! As I got done building the deck for him, the problem came up is I told him, because your mother or your mother-in-law is going to be using this deck to come out on, I'm going to insist that rails go up immediately. He said no, probably because he didn't have the money. I says, okay, well, I at least have to put a border on this so that if she does happen to come up to an edge, she doesn't roll over. He said no. I knew it was all about money, but if you're going to start a project, make sure that safety is always in the forethought, especially when it comes to your family. He said no, there's nothing I can do about that. He paid me the $1,200. No, it was $1,500. He paid me the $1,500. I turned around and I walked away. Now, I had a chance to build another, what you would call a pergola, on top of this deck. I wish he'd have told me this beforehand, but I was going to charge him $2,500 to build it. And he agreed. And I immediately said, sir, I'm not going to build on it unless there's a rail system. You allow me to build some sort of a safety rail system on this deck. He wouldn't let me do it. So I turned away the project. The project would have taken me 3 days. But I turned away from the project because it is becoming too much of a safety issue now. He would not allow me to do what I needed to do to make sure that everyone was safe all around. Because my insurance was at stake here as well. Also, this guy named Randy out in Greatview has never built. I don't believe he's a contractor. He looks the part. He may have some construction experience. He probably does. He's in his mid-50s. But the problem is, he hired me to build an A-frame house. Now, I built a Trio 120 in Carson City. Now, the problem is, I start building the house. We came to a pay issue. He said he was going to pay me $48 an hour to do the work. I got it in text message. Now, and this is the steak. Oh, it looks so good. Now, when it comes to doing the work, not only he hands me money for the rest of the day because he was supposed to pay us the night before, but he didn't. He shortens, he says we agreed to $45 an hour, and that wasn't true. And he shorted me 2 hours. And I caught this immediately because I've already calculated how much I would be getting at $48 an hour. Turns out, he only gave me $45 an hour for 2 hours shy of my of the work to be completed by the end of that day. And I got all this in text messages of what we agreed to. But when it comes to money, you know, people don't want to pay. Certain people don't want to pay other people their worth. And that's exactly what I got out of this. Now, the homeowner, I told the homeowner, man, I've built these houses before. I know what I'm doing. You know, so the house is going to get done. And apparently the homeowner's a contractor or used to be a construction worker. That's good. That's good stuff. Said these beans taste like. Beans are good too. The problem with Randy is he's getting a lot of money at one time on a weekly basis. He's paying everyone under the table, so no one's covered under L&I. I told him I'll do a 1099 and so I can cover my own self. He still wouldn't even do that. He gave me cash. And I told him, because you're going back on what we agreed to, again, it's all about money. I'm going to complete the rest of this day. And I'm going to not come back. I called the homeowner and I told him that too. Of course, the homeowner's going to stick up for Randy. Because again, Randy looks the part as he knows what he's doing. But he doesn't know how to build an A-frame house, which makes no sense to me. How do you not know how to build an A-frame house? They give you all the pieces and instructions on how to do it. But that wasn't enough for him. I was going to originally do the project for $50 an hour salary because I know what to do and how to do the work, and there was never going to be an issue with it being done, and I was going to get it done in 3 weeks or less. That's $6,000. I know you're getting paid at least $30,000 to build this house for the guy. How much money do you want in the world? I just want $2.5 million. That's all. I can help out the rest of my family and my children.